Darwin Platform Group of Companies is one of the fastest growing diversified Indian conglomerates with global footprints. It is setting up offices globally and tying up with companies across the globe from multiple sectors. The company has ventured into real estate and construction, stockbroking and finance, arms and ammunition, mining, airlines and many other sectors.
Hello and welcome. You're watching Business Today Television. I'm Sakshi Batra and this is a special edition where we are going to be decoding the key takeaways from the interim budget that we saw yesterday from the Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman. Now remember, a lot of announcements were made, but is it a budget that is growth oriented is the question that we are asking. And joining in on this show to discuss more insights on this budget for the economy at large is Somdata Singh, founder and CEO of Acitus Global Inc. Somdata, welcome to Business Today Television. It's good to have you with us. Tell us, what was your first, take on the budget now that we've had the time to even digest the fine print of the budget as well. Does it really seem like it is a pro-growth, pro-economy budget?
Sakshi, thank you so much for having me today. And that's a phenomenal question you ask, especially because it's a pre-election budget. I think all eyes and ears were set to understand, is it going to be a populist budget or is it going to be a practical budget, right? So I think the takeaway for me, being a businesswoman myself, is that it's a practical budget, right? The fact that it was not too populist, it focused on the key agendas of what a pre-election budget should look like, especially because it's an interim budget, focused on that. The most important thing for an economy like India is the fiscal consolidation. Right. And in the 10 years of Modi, one thing that we've constantly learned is that India on top, India getting to the max trillion, dollar economy, in being the top 3 economy in the next few years. So the focus was on that can we focus on fiscal consolidation, bring more liquidity, give more levers to the RBI to control how the fintech at large even operates in India, what kind of liquidity, what kind of interest there's, etc. So it was not giving too much, but it's staying on track. And if you see the numbers, it looks very optimistic. A fiscal consolidation of, 5.8 compared to 5.9 that we projected, the delta is negligible. So I think that was the first key takeaway. The second key takeaway, given an entrepreneur, I'm myself always constantly looking, is the government pro-entrepreneurship, pro-private sector, pro-innovation? And the additional 1 lakh crore of innovation fund, I kind of solidifies that vision, right? India's constantly been on the radar of being one of the most successful startup economies in the world, even though we started off way later than what US and other countries did. But our acceleration has been at a tremendous pace. So those 2 are my top takeaways, and I can dwell deeper as we go ahead in the segment.
Absolutely. The fiscal numbers were definitely, positive. The glide path that they talked about on the fiscal deficit front has definitely been appreciated by the stock markets as well, which have shot up to new record levels in trade today. So that's a big number that has been a big positive. The other important bit was on the capex front. They have increased it by 11% to 11 lakh crore rupees. Do you see that rolling the engine of economy going forward from here as well? We've been seeing last 2 or 3 years constant focus from this government on the capex outlay and on infrastructure. How do you see that going forward now?
I think that's a phenomenal question, Sakshi, and I'm so glad you encapsulated it right after we talked about the fiscal consolidation. Well, every growing economy's benchmark is infrastructure. The country that you saw 15 years back, and when people visit India today, and I went to study abroad and I came back, it's a different India. It's an India for growth. It's an India for reality. And it's an India that is getting ready to be the top 3 economy. And therefore, infrastructure plays a significant role in that. And the fact that the government sees that as of paramount importance, and after all the big events that we have posted in 2023, right, means India has been on the forefront. So infrastructure stays as the #1 priority. And the fact that the government is looking and investing and also looking at focusing on the diversification of the infrastructure and even encouraging common Indians to invest in a lot of infrastructure funds shows that we are on the right path. And it is a path for business growth. It's a path for economic growth, and it's a path that helps startups get the right kind of interest and momentum.
Sure, absolutely. You know, the one part that has not really moved over the last few years is private capex, even though the government
Right.
capex has been going strong. What do you think this budget really had to push the private sector to start focusing on deploying more funds into the economy and get the private capex also rolling?
While if you've seen the last 10, years, there's been extremely popular yojanas, where there is the Mudra, where there's the Gramin Yojana, there are several schemes for women specifically that was
Yeah.
put in the forefront. And the goal was not to encourage just the urban, the urban entrepreneurs. The goal was to encourage the rural entrepreneurs, because that lays as a backbone for Indian economy. And if you do a parallel study of US and Europe, you'd see that the rural segment got tremendous amount of boost, the agricultural rural segment, etc., got a lot of boost, because of which it became a big momentum and a big engine for the growth of these countries. And India is focusing on that. But the 1 lakh corpus that they've set aside for investment in private sectors, for the innovation, which they're calling the innovation fund, I think shows that there is a deep focus. And I believe this is an interim budget. I think post-election, if the government comes back, and which looks like it will come up with some certain provisions and certain policies which will give a big boon to the private sector. But one thing, Sakshi, we should not see in isolation is the fact that the budget still focused on Make in India, right? Means
Yeah.
the fact that it has taken out all the tax benefits for imports
Right.
and traders is still saying that, listen, if you want to grow in India, you make in India. You may be an international brand, but look at manufacturing here. Move away from the China momentum. Look at us, because we are quality over quantity, right? Everybody runs to China for quantity, because it's all about that for so many years. But we're changing that paradigm. We're changing that thought process. So that also you have to look as a part of the focus, because that will encourage a lot of companies to come and do manufacturing in India, and therefore provide opportunities to young entrepreneurs or manufacturers or business owners to start their foray into the manufacturing. And there are several schemes and several opportunities that are given to manufacturers, and rebates given to manufacturers under the Make in India scheme. So I think that also is going to give a little bit of boost. But I look forward to the main budget. I think as an interim budget, it hit all the right nails on the head. But the most important and interesting thing for us to see will be the budget that will come after the election.
I'm glad you pointed that out, because that was going to be my last question to you, that what really happens from now until the time we actually see the full budget. Of course, all eyes will also be on the political gamut as well. There will be the general elections that will take place, and then thereafter will be the full budget. What got missed in this budget, and what would you really like to see in the upcoming budget, Nasho?
I think one of the things is, given that we are such a largely populous country, is that the benefit of individuals, right, has to be always kept in mind. This budget hit all, like I said, it hit all the right nails when it comes to growth, business opportunity, infrastructure, fiscal borrowing, which has been lower than what we projected. So all of that has been on point. But what kind of scheme comes out for, especially when it comes to the rebates for taxpayers, or how the taxpayers' money is going to get better utilized to benefit that? What kind of other schemes will come, especially for individuals? I think that is something that was not there in the interim budget, and something that is, I'm sure that they are holding on to it. They are going to surprise us. I'm hoping they're going to take us by a surprise in the main budget post-election. But that's something that definitely will encourage a lot of people. The brain drain that has happened outside of India over the last many years. If you want to bring people back to India, if you want to bring talent back to India, if you want to bring capital back to India and encourage more foreign investments, then I think those are going to be the things to look out for in the next budget.
All right. Well, on that note, thanks a lot, Ramlata, for being with us on this very special edition and sharing such wonderful insights with all our viewers, helping them really navigate through what were the key takeaways from the budget and what to expect going forward from the full budget as well. But meantime, good budget and positive for the economy is something that we are all positive on as well. Many thanks, Ramlata, for being with us onto this special edition. Good to have you with us on Business Today.
Thank you so much. It was such a pleasure, Sakshi. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
All right, thank you. And with that, we will wrap up this very special conversation on the budget takeaways. But do stay tuned. Many such conversations follow right up next on your screens.
Darwin Platform Group of Companies is one of the fastest growing diversified Indian conglomerates with global footprints. It is setting up offices globally and tying up with companies across the globe from multiple sectors. The company has ventured into real estate and construction, stockbroking and finance, arms and ammunition, mining, airlines and many other sectors. Darwin Platform Group of
In today's rapidly evolving business environment, when risk is omnipresent, managing risks is no longer just about ticking a few boxes. Businesses need to maintain a panoramic view of risks to stay ahead of the curve. Join us to explore how organizations can rethink risk to unlock new possibilities and become fit for future. At PwC presents De-Risking the Future in collaboration with Business Today.
For the post-budget analysis, I'm Siddharth Zarabi from Business Today Television, and with me, two of the most important budget makers, Nitin Gupta, Chairman of the Central Board of Direct Taxes, and Sanjay Kumar Agarwal, Chairman of the CBIC. Welcome. Nitinji, you've been asked this question, and I'll come straight to the point. Note changes